Hi, everybody. I'm Heather McCloskey Beck, and I want to thank you for joining me for my talk about finding your way back to peace. You know, something absolutely remarkable has happened. When we sent out our invitations for this talk, as the responses were coming in, we discovered that people were signing up from all over the world. All over the world. And what that said to me was everybody's interested in something in common, and that's peace. It was life-affirming for me, and so I'm truly grateful. I'm truly grateful to be sharing this space, this virtual platform that allows us to come together from all over the world. So though you may be watching all by yourself, and I'm here, there is a collective energy all joined together. So I'd like you to tune into that and feel how wonderful it feels to all be together. I certainly feel great about it. I wrote a book called Take the Leap, which is all about how to create a life that you truly love. How to create a life where you feel joyful and inspired and exuberant versus resistant, experiencing mediocrity and suffering in your life. We're all looking for a way to feel happier or happy. Some of us are born into environments that have supported us and encouraged us with our own unique talents and abilities, while others of us weren't. Some were born into peaceful homes, and some were born into traumatic homes. But regardless of where we find ourselves at this point in life, this is where we begin today. We begin right now on our path to creating a life that we truly want to live. So I'd like to ask you, when you think about happiness, what is it? What is it that comes to your mind? Think about what it is that truly would make you happy in your life. Okay. How committed are you to doing that? How committed, how focused, how strong is your wish to actually create that? You see, because each one of us was born with our own gifts and with the capacity to live our own life. And nobody else can live your life but you. Many of us don't understand that because when we were born into the social enculturation of our families, of our communities, of our religious practices, schools, and our countries, our cultures tell us, they give us guidelines of how we should be and what we should be doing. And meanwhile, perhaps you want to be a painter, but your family wanted you to be a business person. Now they can coexist together quite beautifully, and they need to, because we all have to take care of our responsibilities. We have to take care of our lives and the practicalities, but we also need to keep those ingredients of the things that inspire us in our life on a daily basis. When you think of the happiness, how committed are you to make your life be what you want to be? How committed, how focused, how strong is your wish to stop the suffering you've experienced, the things that challenge you? You see, because it's in our own mind in our heart that determines how we respond to any given situation. Think of it this way. When we have an idea, a concept, a story in our life that keeps replaying itself, it might be a new story, but the concept is similar. And we keep playing it over and over and over. I'm miserable. I'm getting exhausted. It's kind of like picture the hamster inside a hamster cage and that little wheel. And that little hamster is running faster and faster on that wheel. And where's that hamster getting? To nowhere. It just keeps repeating the same thing over and over. So we want to step off that hamster wheel, open the little cage of the door and go out. Free ourselves from that repetitive habitual behavior and step out into the promise and possibility that's there for us to choose. It's your life. I remind you, my life is my life. And learning how to do this is a pathway. It steps along a pathway that we'll talk about today. How often have you felt that you're so busy taking care of everybody else around you and everybody else's business and helping because you want to help, but you're exhausted, you're depleted? My adrenals, I'm wiped out. I gotta have a nap. I can't take a nap. I have to keep going. Well, we all know when we fly, if you've flown on a jet, many of us have, you hear that message. In the event of sudden loss in cabin pressure, take your own oxygen mask and put it on yourself first, and then help everybody else around you. Think about it. Why? It's very practical. You'd be unconscious, draped across the person next to you, and no help to the older person next to you on the other side who needs your help, or the child a few seats over, across the aisle. Never mind yourself. And so the idea is we need to take care of ourselves first. We need to get our own life in order first so that we can then share that knowledge, that experience, that exuberance, that joy with others out into the world. So this really begins with the idea of self-care. Many people feel very selfish when we talk about taking care of ourselves. But if you think of it a little bit differently, when you don't take care of yourself, you're squandering the gift of your life that you were born to live. You see, we're all born from an essence. You can call it universal consciousness. It's the highest creative force. Imagine the sun. And the sun shoots off solar flares. And when we're born, we're like the solar flares being shot off from the sun. We're individuating, we're particulating into who we are with our own unique gifts. And our purpose is to express that creative beauty in our own unique human life. So that which we are in essence into our human form. And when we don't do that, we become frustrated and depressed and a sense of lost, and we're really off track. I can guarantee you, if somebody's a painter, a passionate painter, and they paint for 3 hours in the morning, they're not going to go out in the afternoon and say, now I'm going to commit mayhem, right? And so there's a deep frustration in life for people when they don't do what they love. When I don't do what I love, if I go for several days and can't play my music or can't do my writing or in my garden, whatever it is, I can feel it. And when that builds up year after year or over a whole lifetime, we can understand the aberrant behaviors. It's another way to understand. And when we understand, it develops the potential for deep compassion within ourselves. Because anything I'm speaking to you about, I've experienced it, and that's how I have the ability to feel compassion, to feel the care, to feel the love and the desire to share this with you. So self-care, how do we speak to ourselves? We'll just say an example. Say we're all in a room together, and I invited one person. Christine, would you come on up front here in front of the whole group, and we're going to have a little conversation. Come on up, come up the stairs. And as Christine comes forward and comes up the stairs, she stumbles and falls flat down. What are we going to do? Christine, are you okay? Don't worry about it. It's no big deal. I fall down often, right? But what's Christine saying to herself? You idiot. How could you do that? When we make mistakes, We often berate ourselves. We shouldn't be berating ourselves any more than we would berate somebody else who fell down. We all fall down. And so when we do something that is less than desirable for us, because so many are perfectionists, it's hard to live up with one's own expectations, we got to ease that out and begin to speak kindly. Tender, Heather, it's okay. You're doing the best you can. You're doing the best you can. I'm proud of you. Because it takes courage to step out into the world and do what it is you truly want to do. You imagine it and do it. How many people, how many of you hold yourself back from doing something you've imagined because you might not be good enough or you might not do it well enough? Well, it's time to change that. It's time to speak kindly and support yourself as you would a little child. You can do it. Here you go. We're right there with you. So I'd like you to try that. I'd like you to work with positive affirmations. In fact, I've emailed them out to most of you. I will send them again. It's a link to a secret page on my website. And it's all about affirmations. And it teaches us how to take something that's negative in our mind and turn it into a positive way. Saying no. How many of us say yes? Yes, I can do that. Yes, I can do. Yes, I can do. Until once again, we're back to that place of being exhausted and depleted. And maybe we don't even want to do it and we're doing it with our teeth gritted. Not okay. Not good for our beings, our heart and soul, and not good for our body. So learning how to say no is really important because what it does, it teaches us to respect our life, our choice. That's your choice to say yes or no. It's your choice to go. It's my choice the night before an important event to say, I'm sorry, I can't go to that party. I can't go to that event with you. I need to stay home and rest and prepare. It's your choice. And what they do with it, that's their choice. And I'll tell you, once you start practicing this, those around you will notice. They'll notice the change. And they'll respond. Some favorably, some not so much, but that's something else. Their response is not your concern. Making your life be the way you need it to be, while being considerate and thoughtful of others, of course, but not at your expense of your health and wellness. We all need to take time to start our day in a very peaceful way. Creating solitude, creating time to do things that we love to do are very, very important. If you love painting, if you love playing music and you don't do it, you need to begin. So I'll just tell you one thing I've created is 15 minutes a day to create a life you love. So what does that look like? You create yourself a little piece of paper and it says, from 5 to 5:15, I colored with crayons. How did it make me feel? Ridiculous. Okay, day number 2, from 5 to 5:15. And you write down what you did. I colored with crayons again. How do you feel? I don't know where this is going. It's not making much sense to me. Day number 3. 5 to 5:20, I color with crayons and I kind of lost track of time and it's kind of fun. At the end of week 1 or the end of week 2, next thing you know, from 5 to 6:30, you're painting in acrylics. And now at the end of week 3, you want to go into oils. And at the end of week 4, you're thinking about creating an art show for your work. You get the idea. You see, it deepens it. It deepens it. And then after you've really given yourself permission, time to do something that you love to do, and you've realized that you need to make a commitment to yourself to do it every day, then you can in turn go out in the world and help other people with doing the same thing. Perhaps the art show you would host would be a benefit for young artists who don't have the money to even buy art supplies. And that way, when we're doing this streaming creative behavior, we can octave that and take it out and do the true gifting to others. So how do you start your day? Do you wake up, bang, hit the alarm clock off, jump up, get your coffee or tea, make lunches, get the kids off to school, zoom, 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 off to work. Your day goes through, you have a stressful day, da-da-da-da-da, and the verse at the other end of the day. And you get home, you're exhausted, you're depleted. How does that feel? Not good. So what can we do about that? We can begin our day by getting up perhaps 20 minutes earlier. 20 minutes earlier, a half hour earlier. It's lovely to watch the sunrise. It really, truly is. It's quiet. It's important. So I'd like to suggest that early in the day, before everybody else gets busy in your household, you set your clock a gentle tone, something nice. And you get up and you get your tea or coffee, and then you go to a spot in your home that makes you feel peaceful and comfortable. It could be a small corner, it could be a chair, and light a candle. Make it pretty. Make it so it feels good and special. And then you can begin to take that quiet that really, really starts your day in a way that's not already frenetic and crazy. And so hopefully you can carry that throughout your day. We can do breathing and meditations in the beginning, the middle, at the end of our day, at any point. If you're sitting in your car, you can breathe. Now, I don't know how many of you already meditate, or maybe you've never meditated before at all. It's a beautiful, beautiful opportunity to assist yourself in learning how to actually prioritize what you're doing in your life, because it helps clear out the clutter. We have clutter in our lives. We have clutter in our closets. We have clutter in our homes. We have clutter in our garages, in our offices, in our kitchen cabinets. We have clutter in our relationships. We have clutter in our mind. And so we need to learn how to clear out that clutter. Now, it's easy in our home to go into the cabinets and actually reorganize that, to go into your closet and anything that you might not have used or worn or enjoyed in over 6 months, give it away. It's good to physically clear out clutter because it teaches us the principle of clearing out the clutter in our mind and heart, and then in relationships that are toxic for us. We don't need to have people who are toxic for us have close proximity whenever they want. It doesn't work that way. And so clearing out the clutter is really essentially important. For us to be able to focus on that, or any of these practices I've been talking about, meditation is such a beautiful opportunity to clear out the clutter of our mind so that we can actually create the space in our hearts to begin to listen, to hear what it is we actually desire to choose. So I suggested that today would be a talk and a meditation. And so I think what I'll do, since we could use this meditation I'm going to do with you, we can use it early in the morning or in the evening. I would suggest you try taking quiet for yourself when you start your day and before you go to sleep. Don't go to bed at night coming off the news and jumping into bed, because it's going to impact your dreams. it's going to impact your consciousness. Personally, I don't watch news on TV for that reason. I try to focus on what's really positive in the world, and it's challenging sometimes, isn't it? But I don't need those visual images bombarding me constantly. So, if you've never meditated before, it's really very simple. You just relax, and I'll talk you through some of it. I personally like to get comfortable in my chair, so why don't you do that? And your feet comfortably touching the floor, wherever you are. Relax your body. Personally, I like to put my hands where my left hand cradles my right hand and my thumbs touch and rest at my lap. You don't need to do that, but you can try it if you like. It's very much like taking symbolically this hand of wisdom and this hand of love and compassion. And the wisdom holds it, the love and compassion, and cradles that with its divine wisdom, its brilliance. It's almost like two wings of a bird. And so that's why I do that. So become quiet. We're going to do this now together. Relax, and I'd like you to close your eyes and take a breath. Inhale, and let that go. And breathe in, and release it. When you breathe in, you're bringing in inspiration. You're going to inhale peace. Inhale, please. Bringing the light through the top of your head, imagining it coming down through your body, all the way down to your spine, to your hips, down through your legs, your feet, and out to the ground. And release that in. Inhale again. Focus on the positive. And when you exhale, release anger, frustrations, hatred, blowing them out, letting them go from your being. Please continue your breathing. And you're going to focus on your heart. Your mind is in your heart. And that's where your center of wholeness is. That brings you to your personal place of peace. Continue your breathing. Yeah, 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 yeah. Whoa, 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 whoa. Yeah, 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 yeah. I am whole. I am whole. I am whole. Breathe in, please, and release. Draw in all full and joyful that you think might bring you happiness, and inhale those ideas. And exhale them out into the world, sharing them, blessing all who surround you. Feel the quiet and the solitude. And when you open your eyes, I want you to try your best to hold on to this beautiful calm. And so you can join me when you're ready. And open your eyes. Did any of you peek? Did you? Peeking is interesting because I know when I've meditated with people, I always used to open my eye to see the person who was leading the meditation, what they were doing. So when we peak, our attention is going outside of ourselves, isn't it? We're looking to see what somebody else is doing. We're looking to see what's going on outside the window. It's a distraction. But when we can close our eyes, we look here. And it teaches us how to look inside of ourselves. It trains us. It's a practice. And it's a practice that we can do on a regular basis. Then we begin to train our minds to grab attention, to take the control over our own lives instead of giving it away to everybody else. And this is a way to jump off that hamster wheel and open the little door and go out into the world to promise and possibility. This is how we can begin to remember to put our own oxygen mask on first. This is how we can remember to take care of ourselves so that we can take care of others in our world. Because nothing would make me happier, and nothing does make me happier, than being able to share my positivity, my belief, my faith, my love, my compassion, my kindness and respect for all of you with you. Because to me, that's a big part of my purpose. But I try to also focus on taking care of myself as well. I didn't always, but I'm learning to now. So I hope you enjoyed the talk. I hope you enjoyed sharing this meditation all together. It's a beautiful thing. I would invite you, if you're interested in sharing your thoughts with me about what you experienced, if you have any ideas of what you'd like me to talk about in the future, I'm going to be doing regular talks and meditations as my gift to all of you. And if there's something in particular that you'd like me to address, email me. My email address is heather@heathermccloskeybeck.com. I'm looking to see if it's on the side. Let's see. Heather@heathermccloskeybeck.com. There we go. So if you want to reach me, that's how to do it, and I'll respond for sure. I do teach privately, and I teach workshops for small groups as well as very large groups. So if you have any interest in joining one of my groups where we deepen the work, some of these things that I've talked about today are concepts of introduction. But it's really important to deepen this process, deepen it within yourself, and daily practices. Another way you might be able to deepen your practices is you can pick up a copy of my book, Take the Leap. It's easy to find on Amazon. And in the entire second section are practices, all different practices of how to create a life that you truly love, how to leave behind the resistance, the mediocrity that pulls so hard, that hamster wheel. How do you move away from that and move towards what you do want? You see, something I've always thought about is Viktor Frankl, when he was in the concentration camps. He wrote a book called Man's Search for Meaning. And one of the things that impressed me and stuck with me so profoundly was him saying, I had the choice. They could take away my health, they could take away my clothing, they could take away my wellness, my people, but they can't take away how I perceive what I'm doing. They can't take away my power of choice. And you need to understand, nobody can take away your choice to live your life how you desire to live it. You're in charge of that. You're the boss of your own body. You're the boss of your own mind and heart. And so we need to practice to discover that that's really true. I'd like to give away a copy of my book today, a gift. And so my dear friend, Christine Morgan, who's been assisting me with this webinar, she's behind the scenes. She's selected a name and of who we're going to gift this book to. And it is Damaris Moulton. Damaris Moulton. So Damaris, if I think Christine's going to message you, I've got to put on my glasses so I can see you all. Christine's going to send you a message, and you can send us your email address, your address, and so forth, and then we'll mail the book to you. So I hope that you'll choose to join me. I'm hoping for this to be a weekly event. I'll do my best. If I have personal other events I need to take care of, but I'll be emailing, and you'll know it on my Facebook platforms when the next time I'll be speaking. And again, if you have something in particular that you would enjoy, that would be important to you that I speak about, let me know. Thank you for taking your time with me. I send you so much love, so much love. We find our way back to ourselves by finding our way back to peace, and we find our way back to peace when we begin to remember who we were born to be, what we were born to do, and that's our gift of life. And when we find our way back to our own peace and share that out into the world, then we can make a difference. We need to create peace within ourselves first, and then the world can change. I have a group called Finding Your Way Back to You on Facebook. So if you'd like to join it, please do. I know some of you already are a part of it. It's beautiful. You'll get a lot of support there. And I'm in there a lot. I love you all. Peace.